My music is an expression of the English soul, rooted in our landscapes and folk songs. I strive for a timeless quality, a sense of ancient grandeur juxtaposed with simple beauty. The journey hasn't been easy, finding my voice, navigating the ever-shifting trends, but the act of creation, the building of sonic cathedrals, is a reward in itself.
The life of Ralph Vaughan Williams. Ralph Vaughan Williams is widely regarded as one of the most influential composers of the 20th century. His music has been described as quintessentially English, with a deep connection to the landscape and culture of his homeland. His compositions are known for their haunting melodies, lush harmonies and evocative use of folk tunes. Born on October 12, 1872, in Down Ampney, Gloucestershire, England, Ralph Vaughan Williams was the youngest child of Reverend Arthur Vaughan Williams and his wife Margaret. His father was a vicar, and his mother came from a family of judges and politicians. Growing up in a musically inclined family, Vaughan Williams was exposed to music from an early age. His mother was a skilled pianist, and his father played the cello. His aunt, Sophy Wedgwood, was a well-known singer and pianist, and his uncle, Charles Vaughan Williams, was a composer and musicologist. At the age of 6, Vaughan Williams began taking piano lessons from his mother, and by the age of 10, he was composing his own music. He was a natural talent and showed great promise as a musician. In 1887, he was sent to the prestigious Charterhouse School in Godalming, Surrey, where he studied under the renowned music teacher, Charles Stanford. It was here that he developed a deep love for English folk songs, which would later become a significant influence on his compositions. In 1890, Vaughan Williams enrolled at Trinity College, Cambridge, where he studied history and music. He continued to compose during his time at university and wrote his first major work, the Cambridge Mass, which was performed at the college chapel. He also joined the Cambridge University Musical Society and became friends with composer and fellow student, Gustav Holst. After graduating from Cambridge in 1894, Vaughan Williams decided to pursue a career in music. He studied at the Royal College of Music in London under the guidance of composer and conductor, Hubert Parry. It was during this time that he met his future wife, Adeline Fisher, who was also a student at the college. In 1897, Vaughan Williams won a scholarship to study in Berlin, where he was exposed to the music of Wagner, Brahms and Bruckner. He also studied composition with Max Bruch and met the famous composer, Johannes Brahms. Upon his return to England, Vaughan Williams began teaching at the Royal College of Music and also worked as a freelance composer and conductor. He continued to develop his unique style, which was a blend of traditional English folk music and European classical music. He also became involved in the revival of English music, collecting and transcribing folk songs from all over the country. In 1906, he published his first book, English Folk Song and Dance, which became a significant resource for musicians and scholars interested in traditional English music. In 1910, Vaughan Williams joined the English Folk Dance Society and became a passionate advocate for the preservation of English folk traditions. He believed that the music of a country was an essential part of its cultural identity and should be embraced and celebrated. This belief is reflected in many of his works, which use folk songs and melodies as the basis for his compositions. During World War I, Vaughan Williams served in the Royal Army Medical Corps as a non-combatant. He was deeply affected by the horrors of war and composed his famous Pastoral Symphony as a tribute to the soldiers who lost their lives. The symphony is a haunting and poignant work that captures the essence of the English countryside and the impact of war on its beauty. In 1919, Vaughan Williams became a professor of composition at the Royal College of Music, a position he held for the next 40 years. He also continued to compose, and his works during this period include the opera Sir John in Love, based on Shakespeare's The Merry Wives of Windsor, and the ballet Joe, which was commissioned by the Royal Opera House. In the 1920s and 1930s, Vaughan Williams's music gained international recognition, and he became one of the most sought-after composers of his time. He traveled extensively, conducting his works in Europe and the United States. He also received numerous honors and awards, including the Order of Merit in 1935. However, when he was offered a knighthood, he turned the offer down. During World War II, Vaughan Williams once again served in the military, this time as an air raid warden in London. He also composed several works during this period, including The New Commonwealth, which was a cantata commissioned by the British Council to promote unity within the Commonwealth. In the last 2 decades of his life, Vaughan Williams continued to compose and conduct. He wrote some of his most famous works during this time, including the Sinfonia Antarctica, based on his score for the film Scott of the Antarctic, and the Symphony No. 9, which is considered by many to be his greatest symphony. Ralph Vaughan Williams passed away on August 26, 1958, at the age of 85. He left behind a vast body of work that includes 9 symphonies, several operas, choral works, chamber music, and film scores. His music continues to be celebrated and performed by orchestras and ensembles all over the world, and his legacy as one of England's greatest composers lives on.